From tranquilized bears wandering into open waters to a puppy left at the bottom of a canyon, these are 8 brave and daring animal rescues. 8 animal rescues. Number 8. Kitten in pipe. In October 2012, that old superstition about black cats bringing bad luck got turned right around. The unfortunate kitten had fallen down a narrow pipe in Venice, California. It slid right down to 25 meters deep, where it remained trapped, all caked in mud and dirt, meowing in the dark for its furry little life. However, its bad luck was fortunately turned back around relatively soon, as a geologist and his team, who had been working in a nearby shaft, heard its meows for help and went over to check them out. They called in the Los Angeles area's specialized mobile animal rescue team, SMART. Rescuers Ernesto Poblano and Felix Lopez used an infrared camera to locate the kitty and then managed to safely hoist it up using a flex pole, a custom-made catch pole they crafted out of PVC pipe with a cable looped at one end. They transported the kitten to North Central Animal Shelter for proper vet treatment, a good thorough bath, a big meal, and a happy adoption that very same weekend. Number 7. Bear drowning. When you think of bears, you would probably think giant forest beasts, but not furry, fussy damsel in distress. Nonetheless, here is a story of one bear in desperate need of rescue. Back in the summer of 2008, a black bear weighing 375 pounds was spotted in a residential area in Florida, most likely looking for food. Wildlife officers wanted to relocate the bear and shot it with a tranquilizer dart. Unfortunately, the black bear panicked and jumped right into the Gulf of Mexico, which was where the effect of the dart started to catch up with it, and the distraught bear began to drown. Thankfully, Adam Warwick, a wildlife biologist with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, jumped in after it and pulled it out. A resident, Thad Brett, hurried up and brought his digger tractor to the beach, and it was used to pick the dazed and confused bear up out of the water and carried it away. The bear survived fine, and it was later on released into a preserve. 6. Dog in a canyon. This is Riley, a rescue puppy with an incredible story behind him. In late June 2010, he was discovered abandoned and left for dead at the bottom of a 350-foot deep canyon in a remote corner of the desert of Arizona. On June 20th, former U.S. Marine Sergeant Zachary Andreg was hiking through the canyons when he saw a dark blot of movement at the bottom of the cliff. At first, he thought it was a cow or a calf that fell from the grazing in the area, but he soon realized the horror of the situation. He scaled up and down the canyon several more times to bring the puppy some food, fresh water, and a blanket, but neither the local police nor the fire department could help him. Finally, he got a cat carrier from the Page Animal Hospital and hauled the puppy up. The poor dog was so dehydrated and suffering from malnutrition that the vets barely managed to save him. However, he pulled through, and Zach brought him back to his home in Utah, where the dog was given the name Riley and a safe and loving forever home. Number 5. Dog in freezing lake. A story from January 2009 shows us that man's best friend can sometimes desperately need a friend too. Mark Greenhall's 2-year-old Cocker Spaniel Jarvis got trapped in an icy pond at Alkirkton Woods near Manchester, into which he dashed, chasing after some ducks while out on a walk. Mr. Greenhall's wife told him to put the dog on a leash when they approached the pond, but Mark replied the dog would be okay, that he's not that dumb. Unfortunately, the pet was overexcited and ran right towards the ducks. Of course, he fell into the freezing water and couldn't get out. So Mr. Greenhall daringly jumped into the 6 feet deep pond after him and started smashing his way through the 2-inch thick ice. Jarvis managed to haul himself out onto the icy crust and then shook the freezing water off of himself and all over his owner's head. When they finally crawled back out onto land, some people criticized Mark for risking his life as well as the lives of others, had there been a need to save him too. But he insisted that any dog owner would have done the same, although he added that Jarvis will be on a leash near any icy ponds from now on. 4. Red panda rescue from smugglers. The red panda is an alarmingly rare endangered animal. It is estimated that only about 10,000 of them survive, mostly due to habitat loss or fragmentation and increasing levels of poaching. These pandas are about the size of a cat, which makes them highly desired by people with a thing for exotic pets and private zoos. However, they are also poached for their copper fur, as well as for restaurants and making traditional medicines. January 12th this year saw the most significant red panda rescue ever recorded. They were discovered by chance in northern Laos in the back of a van which was randomly stopped on its way from China, one of their few remaining habitats. The driver claimed no involvement but was still arrested for breach of wildlife trafficking laws. Laos is a major transit hub in the global illegal wildlife trade, but this is still the first discovery of living red pandas there, which might indicate a rise in their poaching. There were 6 bears, but sadly, only 3 survived. They had to be quarantined for a month to keep an eye on their health because red pandas are particularly susceptible to infectious diseases, especially canine distemper introduced by the invading human population. They all made nice recoveries, but it still has not been decided whether they will live at the sanctuary in Laos or in the wild in China. 3. Flying snake invasion. On November 27, 2017 at around 12:15 p.m., Miss Yvonne Wong spotted a snake slithering around her Bukit Batok apartment and immediately called the local police. They advised her to contact the Agri-Food and Veterinary Authority of Singapore, AVA, instead. 2 hours later, when an AVA team arrived at her door, the sneaky, scaly freeloader had long since slipped out of sight and into hiding somewhere, although Mrs. Wong and her family were certain that it hadn't left the apartment. Since there was no snake to catch, the team left, but Inspector Fariz bin Mohammed Noor said they were free to contact him anytime should they see the reptile again. It didn't reappear till next morning, but AVA said it would take them at least half an hour to arrive. The upset Miss Wong called Inspector Fariz, who rushed over despite being off duty, and managed to catch the snake and safely release it back into the wild. It was later identified as a paradise tree snake or flying snake. They're famous for being able to launch themselves through the air over an average of 100 meters in one leap. Although they mostly hunt bats and lizards, they are venomous as well as being constrictors, which makes this a double rescue of both the disoriented snake and the family. 2. Sheep in tree. In December 2017, the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, better known as the RSPCA, were called out to help in a pretty weird case of animal rescue. This time, it was not some confused nature dweller gone astray in a town, nor a stranded pet that ran away from home, but a random sheep stuck in a tree and desperately trying to free itself from it. The baffling display had taken place in Hackshaw, Greater Manchester in the UK. The attending RSPCA inspector, Kim Sheriff, said she had never seen anything like it. Thankfully, the inspector managed to calm the panicking sheep down before it broke its neck and helped her maneuver into an angle where she could gently remove its head from the tree trunk. The animal was fortunately not hurt and ran off to rejoin the flock. Even after the understandably distraught ewe was safely released from the tree trunk, the sheriff was left wondering why on earth the animal had put its head into the tree in the first place. Number 1. Beached manta ray. While it might seem like a prop for a horror movie somehow got away, it's a daring rescue of an animal in a terrible predicament. This strange black mass is actually just a poor manta ray that got stranded on a beach. The picture popped up all over the internet in February 2017, although no one could give any sure information about where exactly the whole thing happened. At least 6 beach visitors who were nearby that day noticed the big animal in distress and jumped right in to help it. It was a tricky task, too, because the incoming waves stubbornly kept pushing the manta ray back to shore. After a group effort of pushing and slipping back and forth, they finally managed to push the poor sea animal back into the water deep enough to let it gain some momentum and escape the rising tide. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to press that subscribe button. Coming up next, 11 pets who returned home after being lost. Also able to positively identify him through a telltale scar on his head, and needless to say, the long companions were reunited. 9. Alfie. The tale of how Alfie the cat came back to life reads much like pages from Stephen King's Salem's Lot. In